Greetings from the two of us. That means I am Russ Hatfield, being joined by my higher dimensional twin soul, Kara, a member of Ashtar Command and Ambassador of Sirius. This channeling session from 1994 was channeled by Mark Crocker, letting the members of Ashtar Command speak through him. We call it the Flat Tire Theory and the Great Pyramid. We explore some topics out of the box, from dimensional jumping to parallel universes, followed up by questions posed by the Great Pyramid of Giza. Korton, the head of communications for Ashtar Command, is our main guest speaker. He gives a head-turning talk on alternate universes, while Omal goes back in time to the building of the Great Pyramid. There's really too much to list, but a more detailed description is on our homepage at hadesbasenews.com. We invite you to subscribe, be kept informed of future postings on our YouTube channel from the members of Ashtar Command. We now present our latest entry into the Ashtar Command archives, the Flat Tire Theory and the Great Pyramid.
Comfortably, then we shall begin.
Excellent. Okay. Now, how are we doing tonight? Here.
Fine.
That's good to hear. It's May 10th, 1994, and welcome to the Flat Tire Theory session.
And
What?
time.
It's 9:30.
Okay, so it's May the 11th in the year 1994 at 9:30 p.m.
Great.
Okay.
Very well. Yeah. All right. Now, we're working on this evening various theories, problems, and associated things.
Hello, universes.
So we'll start with your children
Mm-hmm.
and the latest exploits of a particular threesome.
Well, I only got 3.
Can't have any more than that. But
Not for a while yet.
not for a while yet.
Mhm.
But what I'm interested in is the fire displays that you displayed.
Mhm.
And I wanted to know more about that since I didn't know they could make fire. And in the second place, they weren't trying for fire.
No.
So how is it they were able to set little bunny rabbit on fire?
Well, you know when you use energies, right? It creates heat.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you create too much heat? You have spontaneous combustion. Things going kablooey.
Absolutely.
Sizzle, sizzle, crackle, 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 crackle. Sizzle.
Now, with that in mind, how is it that Minerva was doing with that and not Diana? Why isn't she in charge?
I think they swapped over.
Both the two girls.
Yeah.
They swapped it.
They do that from time to time. They get bored with one doing all the work.
Now, what they do? Cartoon?
Yeah, in fun. Squealing with delight and giggling.
Yeah, it's funny they wanted to toast.
Well, we got them a new one. Yeah, I like my little kittens. Cubs. Drunken all over the place.
Absolutely. Are you back to work again?
Mm-hmm.
You're in the crush now. So you're that's good.
Yeah, they've been in the creche for the past 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, not continuously. I pick them up at night when I get off work.
Yeah, but how come you can't, like, why do they spend so early in school? When it could be,
It's the daycare, sir.
yeah, but why don't you watch over them for a longer period of time and go right away back to work?
Well, it was 6 months ago that I gave birth to them.
Well, that's in days, like 3 months. Mothers down here have got, like,
Start them learning early.
well,
Maybe
they're not really
besides-
learning, are they? They're just interacting.
Yes, they're learning how to interact. And the fact being that we are short-staffed. We'd gladly taken applications for employment.
Well, drop it. I can come up there. I can personally going out and leave it with you, I would. And of course, the commute would be real hell on me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's worth a shot. Besides, you got Mark.
Yeah.
Could be worse. Now, with 3 months into the crash,
Mm-hmm.
how much time does that give you to spend with your kids now?
About 16 hours a day. I sleep for 12 of it. So it leaves me 4 hours to play.
Oh, wow, that's good. That's nothing.
Well, I am only working 5 days a week. So I have Thursdays and Fridays with them.
Well, what are you working on now?
Well, I'm working with Luna in the research of historical information.
And what have you found out lately?
I'll let Luna tell you. Should I just... Maybe.
Okay, I'll wait for you to get on that one. All right. Now, as I remember, we never went through the principles of credit conservation for kids. How did you remember?
Well,
Is it hereditary? And
no, I think it's something that they picked up from past lives.
actually, that's right. Hereditary.
Past lives, yes. Hereditary is when it comes from one or the other parent.
Yeah. In this case, what do you call it when it comes to past life?
Past life experience.
Oh. Another interesting fact that I want to come up with is the names.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the fact that your girls picked Greek goddesses to be named after.
Well, somebody was partly responsible for that.
It wasn't my fault.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. I reminded them, I merely showed them their past lives and mentioned the fact they look like Greek goddesses in there. How did I know they're going to come up with names like that? I didn't even give them well, yes, I did give them names of Greek goddesses.
So, who is responsible?
They are. They liked them.
Yes, but it was your idea.
But they chose. They could have chose Japanese princesses for all I know. Now, the thing is, though, does that come back upon to past life experience?
Yeah. See, all three of them have worked very close together in past lives. And they've been either mother and daughters, sisters, aunties to each other, various times.
Right. I worked with them. They were sisters together. And so that would be the key that would remind them of what's going on with this life, because here they are again, sisters again. Okay, what's the word with Carrie?
Carrie? Oh, she's fine.
How you doing at work today?
Look, work from time to time when I get some free time. When I'm not preoccupied with my exercises.
And now, I need a little bit of last minute work with extra projection. So,
Rookie.
yeah, right. Remember how you got there in the first place?
Well, we all make mistakes from time to time.
Well, I'm taking mine nice and step by step so I don't make the same mistakes you do.
That's right.
Okay. Now, avoiding the D jump. Can it happen accidentally?
Yes.
Okay. How do you avoid having them happen accidentally?
You don't put yourself in that mode.
How do you keep yourself from avoiding that mode? Because your desire is there to do so. That's half the battle right there.
Yeah. Okay. How to avoid a D jump. The node is that when you go into astral travel, right, you accelerate really, really rapidly, right, don't you? You create a energy vortex in front of you,
Right.
and you punch through into another dimension.
Right.
And if you slow down a bit, you're not going to have that vortex being able to punch through into another dimension.
Right. Yeah, but then you still get into the other dimension.
But but you're not creating that necessary tear, that necessary punch. It's a much more slower pace. It's all to do with speed and energy. If you take it nice and leisurely, instead of taking you 5 minutes to get up there, you take 10 minutes. That reduces the chance by a factor of 10.
All right. Now, the key I'm looking at right here is the fact that it's sort of like, I want to put some analogy, our planes going through the sound barrier.
Yes.
Okay. Anything under the sound barrier will keep you in from having to do a D-jump.
Correct.
Anything above that, and you break the sound barrier.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, in this case, you go through and do a D-jump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in other words, you still break through from third to fourth to fifth without having...
Not to. From third to fourth to fifth.
So when Mark does a D-jump, he's going super fast.
Yeah.
He's punching through.
But I estimate he's probably going about close to 3 or 4 times the speed of light.
Okay. So when I want to do a D-jump, when I'm ready for it, then what I'll be doing is increasing my speed.
Correct.
Okay. And how do I manage the D-jump once I do it? I mean, it's going to be pretty disorienting, like it was for Mark.
Yeah. But that's something that you have to get used to. The more you do it, the less noticeable it is. Until it gets to the point where no longer do you suffer from the deep freeze syndrome or the shakes or being extremely hot. It's like a normal experience.
Nice. So up until then, I won't go solid.
No, you have to be able to do that to go solid. I mean, from time to time you can do it by just sheer mass of energy.
It's up to you. Now we come to your novel. Now, you remember what I was mentioning about before? About your efforts to go solid down here. Does that mean you are not applying the speed necessary to do the same jump that Mark does?
No.
Or is the fact that it's a denser...
It's a denser dimension.
Okay. So increasing the speed won't help you?
No.
No matter how fast you go?
No matter how fast I go.
So what's the key for you?
Energy. And I don't have that much energy to do it with. I have to take the energy with me to do it.
So why can't Mark help?
Because it has to be my supply of energy.
Why?
Because that's the way it is. It's my signature that triggers my energy to do the work.
I see. So there's nothing Mark can do to help you out.
No. So we have to figure out other needs.
I said the help wanted sign down here and we can have you fill out an application.
Sorry?
Someone help me with possibilities.
That'd be easy. I'd just sit down, pour myself a cup of tea and go.
Yeah, and PK everything into place. Well.
Do I have to explain hand movements and everything like me pointing in various directions, like energy flowing from my finger to move things?
No, just do that.
Oh.
But if you recall, there's a certain movie. Didn't I show it to your kids? Alex?
Which one?
Really? Probably. Didn't I show it?
You showed
Alex.
that to Alex. I
Showed
should.
it to Alex and Katie about tipping my head off. Right his brain.
She's very much like Mark in that respect, isn't she?
Absolutely. It's a great movie.
Yes.
Because he saw someone using PK to clean up a room.
Spit spot.
I thought that would be like an educational program for him. She took it completely the wrong way.
I'm not getting involved in that.
All right, I'll take it up with her when she gets here.
Yeah.
Why not fun?
If she gets here.
Oh, where is she?
Not too sure.
Okay. So who's on base tonight anyway?
Well, we have a guest speaker. We have Omal, Korton, and Kara.
Those guest speakers, sometimes they're really great. Sometimes they can scare my bones. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds like a good lineup.
Uh-huh.
And what about Luna?
Possibly. That's up in the air.
Okay. Anyway, we're looking forward to a fun, family-oriented session this evening. Right. And you're doing very well with it.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the guest speaker on, all right?
Okay.
And it might be necessary for you to kill the tape because that person's a little bit nervous.
Oh, okay.
And she might say irrelevant things.
Okay, we're Xing the tape now.
Here you are.
Thanks, love.
Oh, good to hear it. Good to hear it.
Mm-hmm. Well, she sounds like she's doing really well.
She's a very scared little girl at the moment. Wow, little. She's 49.
It's not what you are, except for your kids.
Yeah. Yeah, she walked out here with her walking stick.
Well, that's good. Mm-hmm. Well, hope that helped her, though, about, the fact that down here on Earth, she'd be X leg, X hand forever and ever and ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because there she gets a second chance.
And the third everything. Mm-hmm. Talk to one of your pilot buddies. And none of his arms and legs are his originals.
Oh, really?
He's spending time with Laika to help her.
Oh, that's good. So they can kind of counsel each other.
Yeah.
She's really got a off for Carter, though.
Yeah, I think she has a bit.
I tried to help her get over it a little bit. And she thought the kids threw up on her and stuff. I kind of put her in a light that she's just something else. She's not a person.
You did make her blush for that comic book character about Q.
Oh, that one, yeah. Glad I could help. Okay. Well, I guess we're ready for whoever's next. Maybe there's much too many questions in my But I'll pick the stuff for you. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Greetings and felicitations.
Greetings, Korton.
Greetings, and how are you functioning?
Well within specified parameters. In fact, pushing the limits.
That is good.
Indeed it is. Very good, in fact.
Okay, let us proceed.
Okay. All right. This evening we're doing a tape from.
Yes, we are aware.
Okay, good. In that case, we'll jump right into our first subject. And that is my brother raises the question of how can he push the limits of his brain to their maximum potential. He knows he can't reach 100% of brain usage, but he'd like to find out.
Try for him to reason out various things that he does not understand. If you remember, we discussed a while back the headache when you are concentrating on something, when you are trying to understand or comprehend a specific goal that you are trying to head for, how a headache will be present, and that is expanding your brain capacity.
Mm-hmm.
When you think back on the matter that gave you a headache, it doesn't give you as bad as one.
Right.
So you pick a subject and you think on it and try to reason it out and discuss it with other people.
Mm-hmm. And then hopefully, if you don't get a headache, you get something close to it, I'm sure.
Yes.
Right. And each time it's just pushing that muscle, strengthen it and strengthen it.
Correct.
Okay. Now, does it matter what the subject is? I mean, it doesn't have to be metaphysical. It could be just about anything.
Yes. Mathematics, engineering problems, design problems, construction problems.
Right, because he's an inventor.
Yes.
And he has a couple ideas that he says he wants to work on in this lifetime. that he wishes to bring about for the world, and one is a teleportation device, and one is a method of making a writing material that is not paper, but better than paper. Now, in the teleportation device, he says we already have access to the technology that'll allow us to build that. And I personally don't understand how we could even have that technology when we can't even figure out our mass transit system yet.
So we cannot discuss that.
No, that's right. How about the paper question?
The paper question. It depends on what sort of material you are looking for. A material that is flexible and paper-like, but does not degrade over a period of time. Or are you looking for a substance that is hard and degrades after a set period of time? Or what?
I would say answer A. And in that case, there's only one substance we have that would fulfill those roles. Plastic.
Correct.
So what would have to be done is creating a form of thin plastic that would be writable. So it'd have to be white. It would have to be able to be a soft content that would absorb ink or pencils or whatever.
So you wish to construct something with super large molecules, correct?
Right, absolutely.
Maybe trying to decrease the size of the molecules slightly so that they are the same amount as there would be, but less tightly packed due to the decrease in size.
Ah, I see. So they'd be a loose bonded form of molecules.
Correct.
And it would allow for the flexibility that we're looking for and also the markability that we're looking for.
Correct.
All right. And so it'd be an expensive process, but it could be mass produced and brought down in price.
Yes.
I see. Okay. Take a bit of chemical engineering on that one.
Yes.
But it would last forever, practically.
Do you wish for that to be so?
Something that wouldn't biodegrade?
Correct.
That's a good question. I mean, what happens if you have to throw away a sheet? If you goof it up? You've created a waste that's not going to go away for the next 20,000 years.
It is a little less than that before plastic starts to break down.
Well, they have biodegradable plastic now.
Exactly, that is what you should go for, not a non-biodegradable, but a biodegradable type.
Ah. Now, don't the biodegradables use a large molecule anyway to start with?
Yes.
Which helps them break down easier?
Yes.
So that's half your battle right there.
You decrease the size slightly, which means that it is a little bit more absorbent.
I see. Plus, the fact that in those biodegradable plastics, they're making those out of plastics that are being recycled.
Exactly.
So not only would you be reducing the amount of plastics already, you'd be helping to reduce the plastics in the future because they'd be biodegradable.
Correct.
A good plan. I like that. Okay. Good. Now the next question is we're dealing with parallel universes. And in this, he has presented to me what he calls the flat tire theory. And that is that where I explain the concept of parallel universes, he brought forth the theory that basically that would not matter because we take, for example, a tire on a car. Now, when a tire wears down to a certain point, it reaches a stress point. The tire then goes out, blows.
Mhm.
And there is nothing you can do about that stress point. When it's reached, it will blow.
Mhm.
And so he says that there is no way that, you would have any control over that situation. It's going to blow one way or another, and that you can apply this to life. Same thing with the world. It's going to reach a stress point, and it's going to blow.
But that is in this universe.
Right.
The best way to explain it is every major event has many possible outcomes. And in an infinite number of different alternate universes, every possible conceivable outcome can occur and has occurred. Let us take our fabled 1939 to 1945 conflict.
World War II, yeah.
First of all, let us look at the beginning. 1939, Hitler invades Poland.
Right.
That occurred in your universe. In another universe, it did not occur. And in another universe, Poland won. In another universe, it was a stalemate. In another universe, Great Britain and France attacked Germany from behind. In another universe, Poland beat Germany and invaded Germany. Russia came in on the side of Poland. Poland beat Russia, and so on.
Right. Now, in a lot of those, my parents never met due to the aspects the world would not allow that meeting to take place.
Correct.
So therefore, I'm not in many of those outcomes that would have happened. And those that I am in would be a much different world from what I perceive now.
Correct. The variations are so wide that you can take 10,000 alternate universes and only 100 of those are habitable.
Oh,
Maybe 200. It depends. I'm taking a number.
right. Well, now he describes it as a loom, a weaving loom.
Ah, yes.
Okay. And that is that there is a infinite number of possibilities to any given situation. That all those possibilities all come together, and only one of them is the one that you perceive.
Yes, perception.
Right. Because of the fact that you made a decision that took you onto that one.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, all those infinite numbers of possibilities then cease to exist. Because there's only the one which leaves behind
a person that is unaware of the possibility of other universes, then that is all that exists.
Right. Well, here's the concept I have trouble with that maybe you can help me with, and that is the fact that, okay, we were walking, here's an example I used. We were walking down the street, and him and I took a right-hand turn and continued on up the street with our conversation. Now, at that point, I told him that in one universe, him and I continued on down that street without ever making that turn.
Mm-hmm.
And that we were having a conversation of a completely different nature, or the same conversation didn't matter. The fact is that, there was two universes that split off, or a universe that split off from that one. Now, why don't we perceive that split?
Because your mind does not let you perceive it.
Okay.
If you were to perceive every possibility, you would get nothing done. Your mind would be flooded to an overload point of all the sensations, of all the possibilities that could occur.
Oh,
And that have occurred.
okay.
So, your mind automatically shuts it out. If you were to think of all the possibilities that could occur, you would be sitting there still.
On that corner.
Correct. But events do not change that often to cause a split. It normally takes a major event.
Oh, I see. Well, that changes things. Because I had thought this was every little thing that we do that creates a split. Oh, okay. So there aren't like billions going off every hour.
No.
Oh, okay. I see the difference now. Now, what denotes the fact that there's a split? I mean, a major occurrence, sure, but I mean, there's a lot of things that are different perceptions of a person's major event.
It varies from as minor as an automobile accident to a child that in a future universe could become a president of a country to an assassination of a president.
Mm-hmm. I see. Now, do we control where that split comes in, or is it really...
To a certain extent, yes. If you are an assassin, then you can control the possible outcome. I believe there is a movie about a gentleman that can see into the future by shaking somebody's hand.
Oh, yes, the dead zone.
Yes.
Right.
We suggest that that is what.
Yeah, in fact, I think he mentioned that, so I think he's seen that.
Yes. But it is possible to change your perception of current things by intervening in such a way, having the precognition of what is going to happen. Precognition is not so much as a wishy-washy science as possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding the possibilities and the likelihoods, like when we make our predictions.
Right.
We talk about possibilities. That this is possible, that is possible. We do not say that it is carved in stone. We say that it is possible.
Right.
Because all things are possible.
I see.
I believe Tia has a poem that she wrote that runs something along the lines of time is the beginning and end of all things.
Mm-hmm.
That is the start of her poem.
The Alpha and the Omega. I see. Now, is there a way in which you can look back and determine how a possible split in a parallel universe would end up?
Yes.
It's by the probability factors
Correct.
involved.
Correct.
So in other words, if, let's say, Poland had invaded Germany, you can look back and you can pretty well judge out to today's standards with, not a whole lot of degree of success, but at least with some sort of logibility that these things happened and it would be possible we'd be speaking Polish now.
No.
Because Poland was an ally.
Yes.
The Germans would be speaking Polish right now.
Correct. Or a dialect of German. You would have to sit down and discuss it with somebody that knows that era well.
Right. And that's where it comes into the problems, is if somebody can travel through time, what is going to happen if you change these events in the history? You don't change the history that you perceive nowadays.
Correct, because it has already happened.
It has already happened. All you do is you start a new timeline.
Correct.
From that point.
Correct.
I see. So all the people will still be on it.
Correct.
Experiencing those things that would happen because of the new change in the timeline.
That is correct.
So time travel is not a dangerous thing that's been theorized.
No.
All right. but hasn't been accomplished yet. We look forward to someday being able to do that, I hope, now that I know that there's no danger that I'll just suddenly disappear.
Paradoxes do not occur, because if they occurred, your species would be extremely confused and baffled.
Well, that's for sure.
Waking up one morning and discovering that your home is moved 5 miles down the road, and how do you get to work anyway?
Absolutely.
Okay, last question, please.
Okay. And that is that with all the worlds that Ashtar Command has to monitor, regulate, help along and such, how come there's not an infinite number of people available to help with that work?
Because we cannot work with other people from possible alternate universes.
Right.
It does not function this way.
Well, I just mean for the universes that are now here in existence. I mean, we're talking billions and billions of people of capabilities that far exceed those of third-dimensional Earth. Couldn't you be able to work with most of the people from fifth-dimensional Earth?
There aren't that many. That is a problem, that there aren't that many. Because fifth dimension is a workspace.
Oh, that's right. So, yeah, I see what you mean. What about sixth-dimensional Earth?
Again, there are not that many. There are more sixth-dimensional people than are native to the fifth dimension.
Right. Wouldn't they be able to transfer over? Well, yeah, but then depopulate the Earth. And what's the point of having Hades base?
Correct.
Right. But they couldn't transfer from a few of them to work on fifth-dimensional Hades base to help out third-dimensional Earth.
It depends on the temperament and the necessary need. We are hard pushed, but to have more people would make our work easier, but it would decrease and detract from our goals.
It would.
Yes. Because having a number of dedicated people is better than having people that do not wish to do that sort of work.
Oh, I see.
You have to understand that most of the people that are here are very dedicated to help people on the lower dimension ascend.
Right. See, I just assumed that people would be banging on your door trying to get in to help out people of a lower dimension. Like you'd have to be turning applicants away by the millions, you know?
Sometimes people on the higher dimensions could be pretty barbaric by your standards.
I guess yeah. I mean, being from third dimension, you know, I just see them as being better.
Yes, to a certain extent, and no to a certain extent. Okay. Thank you very much for an enjoyable conversation.
Okay. I look forward to the next time. Hi, Tia.
You teased you there briefly, didn't you?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's good for me.
Yes, I love babies. Okay, let me hand over to the next piece.
Okay.
Because he is also pushing the time.
Yeah.
Greetings, Russ.
Greetings, Omal.
Okay, let us proceed.
Okay, sounds good. All right. We're talking about theories put forth by my brother and myself that we're trying to arrange. And this one is on the Great Pyramid.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in this, I'll be sending him information that will explain the fact that the Great Pyramid was not built as a tomb, only because there was no way when the first people who got in there ever found anything that even looked like a tomb.
There's something that might interest him. The name that was discovered in there,
Cheops.
No, the name that was painted on the ceiling.
There was?
Yes, there is a name that was painted on the ceiling referring to Rahu Khafre, who was supposedly entombed in there.
Oh, yeah, right.
That is an insult.
It is.
Yes. And the workman would not have put that on there. In actual fact, it is a spelling. It is saying something along the lines of greater than God, Khafre.
Right. And that can't be, because Khafre was God.
Correct.
So he can't be greater than himself.
Exactly. So that is a misspelling.
Okay. Now, we know that the pyramid was used for initiations.
Mm-hmm.
Is this possibly the work of some demented student who went in, or not demented, but maybe had a grudge?
You mean the graffiti?
Yeah.
It was a scientist that wanted his opinion to be the right one.
And that is?
Sorry, we cannot disclose his name.
No. I mean, what was his opinion?
His opinion that it was built as a tomb for Khafre.
Oh, you mean this is a scientist of our time?
Yes.
Oh, I see. It wasn't somebody back then.
No.
Oh, I see. Well, they could just do a spectrograph on the paint that was used, and be able to tell that this was not the same time period as the pyramid.
They probably already have.
Probably already have.
But it is accepted, and it is still taught in your educational facilities, that they used rollers. That this is the way that they did it. They used slaves. They used rollers.
Right.
Question. Where did the wood come from?
Well, from what I understand is Egypt used to be a pretty wooded place.
But the ships used to transport the wood, the building blocks, the wood used for scaffolding, the wood used for rollers. Where did all this come from? You think about how much wood would be needed for that.
You don't know how much wood there was.
You're talking to build one boat. You're talking of approximately 100 trees to carry some of those 5-ton blocks.
Wow. Well, that would make a difference. Okay. And then Mark brought up the fact that the ramps would take more material than 7 times the pyramids would size. And the pyramid itself takes up massive amounts of acreage. So where'd that all go to? Well, my theory is that if they
got buried in the sand.
right, they would just throw it off. But to break down those ramps would take them another 30 years.
And also, you take basically a Stone Age civilization.
Right.
Let's say they are Bronze Age people.
Okay.
Which is giving them a lot of credit. Where did they get that mathematics from? Where did they get that precision from? 7 inches difference from the shortest to the longest side. Where? All sides facing north, east, south, and west, perfectly aligned, sinking only a couple of inches in approximately, by your scientists' guess, 5,000 years.
Right. By our guess, a whole lot longer than that.
And your engineers are quite happy if a building sinks a foot in 100 years.
Foot? It's a lot of sinkage. Because our scientists,
Your scientists,
thank you, cannot put forth a theory that would conflict with known abilities of people back then. Because of the fact that they would then have to refute other scientists.
correct.
And there's some unwritten law that says you can't refute other scientists.
Well, the opinion that it was built by a spacefaring race is a little bit off.
Right.
It was built by humans,
Right.
what you were descended from, that were descended from spacefarers. So to say that it was built by spacefarers is inaccurate when in actual fact that they were now, at that point, indigenous to your planet.
Right. They were as local as we are.
Correct. And very little difference apart from skin pigmentation, maybe a few minor functions like the appendix actually having a more prominent function.
What would be a more prominent function than appendix?
In some animals,
I thought it was useless.
it is used for aiding the digestion. In rabbits, for example, helps to break down and produces certain chemicals needed in the destruction of roots and grasses.
Oh, see, so it wasn't atrophied way back when.
No.
It is now.
Right.
Okay. So basically, the only difference also would be in the abilities common to each of them.
Yes.
And also, I would assume the amount of brain that they used.
Correct. Instead of 11 to 13%, it would be something like 20 to 25%.
That little?
That little, by that point.
Oh, I see. It's been degenerating ever since.
Correct.
Oh, I see. And so what we're trying to do is reverse the process.
Correct.
Well, that would mean that we must have reached a low point in our brain usage then.
Shortly thereafter.
That's a scary thought. And we went down probably lower than what the 10 or 13% we use now, probably down to like 7%, right? Good grief. What do you mean shortly thereafter? At that point, we were still pretty. If it had gone from 25% down to 7%.
Don't forget there was a lot of conflict at that time.
Yeah. But you would think that, oh, that's right. If all the scholars were like beheaded, put up against the wall, let's say, all you'd have left is petty kings and slaves.
Yes. Fighting amongst themselves.
That would be known as real Dark Ages at that point.
Yes.
Okay, so, even though we've at 11 or 13%, that's still pretty good, comparatively speaking.
Correct.
So 25% would be going really great guns, because that's more than twice.
You would have the knowledge on how to access certain parts of your brain to channel energy.
So in other words, we'd increase the usage of our brain that would enable us to increase it and use more of our brain.
Correct.
That's one of the keys in it, because we double the amount of brain power we use. Wouldn't that hurt?
Yes.
That's why the pain threshold is so necessary to improving ability skills.
Correct.
Because
it gives you something to measure by.
Right. I see. Okay, so
this is a warning when you reach a danger point.
Right. So that's the cutoff point.
Correct.
And if there was no cutoff point, we'd go insane.
Exactly.
How does that describe our geniuses then? That use lots more parts of their brain. And did they have to go through a tough childhood or something?
Most likely, yes.
I see.
There are some people that are very clever at masking their pains and inner emotions. Ask Mr. Vulcan Emotions.
Okay, what about, then real quick, Einstein?
Who? Quick side question.
Okay.
What is his problem at the moment?
What, the big L word there?
Presumably that is what it is.
I call it the big I word.
I word?
Infatuation.
Quite possibly.
We haven't got to the L word yet, but we're working on it. Okay. Einstein though he was a genius and came up with a theory of relativity and all this other stuff, he was actually very absent-minded, would forget
To tie his
to
shoelace.
tie his shoelaces or, to button his shirt.
You have to make some sacrifices for intelligence.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like one part of his brain got bigger than the other part. Like the right side got bigger than the left side kind of thing.
Yes, you could say, but what happens is you are thinking on the relativity theory. How does it work? Let me see. You're lying in bed. You go, need a cup of coffee. You go downstairs. You make your cup of coffee. You drink your coffee. And you're still thinking on relativity. And your girlfriend, wife, whatever walks in and goes, "Excuse me, dear, you're flying low. Or you've got to put your trousers on this morning."
Oh, I see.
Your mind is preoccupied.
Oh, so he lived with a constantly preoccupied mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
Take Luna, for example.
Yes.
When she is busy working on her computer, does she not forget to put things on from time to time?
From all the time. How many times have I caught her sans clothes more often than once working on her computer? She doesn't really care because she's so occupied.
Exactly.
Right. But now, someone like Tesla, who I've read in his biography, would go into a restaurant and he would order 13 clean, folded napkins brought to his table. At that point, he would sit there and he would clean off every little piece of silverware, plates, everything on his table setting, and leave the napkins sitting in a big pile. And yet he was a genius.
Some people are a little bit eccentric.
But what causes an eccentricity in that? So it's always said geniuses are eccentric.
The border between madness and genius is very narrow.
Oh, I see. So flirting with disaster.
Correct.
Okay, I see. Are you a time?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
As I know we are blowing through these questions like there is no tomorrow. And in one universe that is quite possible.
Don't do that to me. That always confuses me.
Why not? It is nice to see you confused.
Indeed, it makes my brain hurt. Okay.
Sitting there so confident and self-assured.
Yeah, well, that's all she wrote after something like that happens. All right. Last question then. Let's see if I can think of one real quick here. Okay. Now, your function as head of Hayden Space is as an administrator. Okay. Now, would you call yourself a microcosm of Hades Base? In other words, the function of Hades Base is to help Earth consciously and as a let's say protector of it. Okay.
You're treading on very dangerous ground there. Not security-wise, but wording.
Okay. Well, what I'm thinking of is that you are in charge of helping the people on the base and keeping them emotionally secure.
Yes, to a certain extent, I actually have other people to help me with that. I am the person that makes the decisions. I go before the council and argue my case, and they argue theirs, and we come to a compromise when necessary. And we proceed from there. Or I make a decision there and then. You see, to be in charge of a community like this, one has to be many different things. I have to be peacemaker. I have to be able to take advice, listen to advice, give advice, make an instant snap decision, stick by it, and yet keep everybody happy.
Right. And you have someone you have to answer to also.
Yes.
Okay.
You could say I am the clown running this face.
I don't know if I would exactly put it in those words.
I'm juggling. I have to make people happy. I juggle many things all at the same time.
Yeah, good point.
No, a clown would not be the correct word to use.
No, a jester or a
Juggler.
jug.
The magician.
Ah,
Yes.
yes, just the balance,
Yes.
establishing the balance. Good. I see. And so, how do you find your balance?
I look within myself when necessary.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I look within myself. Find my balance here.
More to enterprise. Would to be Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not an anthropologist. Farewell, Russ.
Farewell.
Farewell to your Vulcan emotion-like person.
Okay. I'll pass along. Thank you. All right. That was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes.
I don't think Kiri's going to be here.
No. Well, that's all for the better, though. Since I just have to put the pause button on every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. This is my lady.
No, it's Tia.
Not yet. I mean, my lady coming up.
I don't know if I should let her after that comment.
Oh, excuse me, darling. Anticipation makes me all the more anxious. Besides, you do turn afterwards.
Yeah, I have to wait.
Oh well, you know you get to fill up the rest of it.
I'll let her in.
Thank you.
Stop battering me with that negative energy.
What negative energy is anticipation? Oh. Go away.
Greetings,
I have a reason to go solid. I go spank Tia.
I was about to say, do you want to pause there as you blow off steam at Tia?
No. I'd rather have it on tape. So how are you, my darling?
I'm fine.
Oh, that's good to hear. Good to hear.
Okay.
Okay. First off, let's work with a little bit on Carrie.
Mm-hmm. Green tea,
Green tea.
rosemary, warm water, clean towel, salt, warm water, edible refreshments if you wish, lighting, blue and green, or maybe music if she wants music. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Good. So that'll be. What was it?
Not next week.
Yeah, not next Tuesday. Tuesday after.
That's right.
Okay. Good. Let's see. Next Tuesday would make that's the 10th. That'd be the 17th. That'd be the 24th. Full moon's not till 25th.
Correct.
How do we do ellipses to put it in the pyramid instead of the full moon?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay. I'll just do a batch of elixirs just for this one.
Okay.
And then wait for the full moon and do a full
Mhm.
batch for the whole to get set up and stocked.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now, what do you want the elixirs in the green tea?
Yes.
Good.
Mhm.
All right. And what are we going to attempt here to get rid of it completely then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. Knock it out the window, get rid of it so she's no longer a remission, but fighting fit. Or fighting Kerry. Yes, the fighting Irish.
Okay.
She's got Irish blood in her, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, two questions I want to put to you here.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's in a gray area, so let me see how this works. One of them is. So I'll get the gray area out of the way first.
Okay.
All right. Now, we were discussing the forms of healing rays
Mm-hmm.
that are used on us from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in prior years, the Earth had a stronger magnetic field,
Mm-hmm.
which allowed people to heal at a faster rate.
Mm-hmm.
Over the centuries, that magnetic field has deteriorated to its current level. Would one of those rays happen to be a stronger magnetic field?
No, I can't tell you.
Oh, that's not big of a ray. Black.
Right over beyond the black area into the black hole area.
Okay. Can I theorize about it?
If you wish, but I can't make a comment.
Fine enough. It is just that our healing abilities seem a lot more amplified. So that's why I point the question though, is that if this was a higher magnetic energy throughout around this house, that would explain some of the healing that takes place here. So anybody answering that? Just
You can theorize until what's it freezes over.
all right. Now, the next question is about someone else here in town who is currently working with magnet and pyramids and crystals in conjunction into one thought.
Her regional planning and development agency for psychic powers.
The Tahoe Human Potential Center. You were close though.
Yes.
Now, they have not been able to establish a serious testing of this. Now, is there a way that we can look into this more and determine its viability?
Yes. I have a plan. And it's so cunning you can brush your... Well, never mind what you can brush with it. But what we do is we will go along, but before we go along, Kiri and myself will get into a channeling mode. We'll work together. We'll get Mark in it. And we come into Mark, right, and we go along, and Mark, or rather Kiri and myself, don't say a word, we just move them around all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What purpose will this come to?
Well, to reconnoiter, to look at it.
Oh, I see. To establish what field is there.
Mm-hmm.
And since you're in a channeling mode, you'll have to be in a channeling room.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you'll have monitors.
Mm-hmm.
Which means the monitors can monitor the fields around it.
Correct.
Determine its viability. Determine if that's what they're doing. Okay.
So poor Mark will have no recollection for a couple of hours of what's going on. Mm-hmm. But we've got to be very silent and quiet, otherwise the game's up.
Yes, obviously. Now the one thing is that after we do this, we can apply some of those same principles to this pyramid here, if we find that there is a function that they are established and are working. Okay, so I'll try to set that up.
And any questions that I have come through you, I'll put them in there so you ask.
Okay. Good. You do well, Brian. Thank you. And we'll set this up for this weekend.
We can try.
All right. How's your drive?
A little bit strange. A little
Right.
harder work than I thought it would be.
Well, you did quite well.
You've got lots of things to do all at the same time.
Well, you have to watch the gas gauge. You have to watch the speedometer.
You have to watch the windows, the mirrors, and keep an eye on that you're lined up properly. So move the feet when necessary.
Maintain a constant pressure to keep you at the speed you're going.
Mm-hmm.
But how did we agree on that in the first place?
Not too sure. That was neutral.
It was like all of a sudden I'm driving, not even thinking about it. All of a sudden you're driving, and I'm like going, okay, that's interesting.
There is one slight problem though.
Yeah.
Kiri wants to drive.
Well, Mark should have been letting her drive already at this point, though.
He's a control freak, isn't he?
Yeah, drive all you like.
Oh, thank you. Doesn't interest me that much, actually.
Okay, so got some good plans coming up here, and I'll go ahead and set this up with Karen.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Now she has a lot of problems with spiders. Is there anything to do with that?
What you do is you put her in a room and fill it up with spiders. Okay. It's something that she's got to overcome by herself, but it might be useful for her to talk to Mark about spiders.
Mark has a thing too, doesn't
Yeah, I believe so.
That's right. Okay. Anyway, we're working on the Renaissance Fair.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go into that.
I wish I could get to come.
Okay, I got something for you, sweetheart.
Okay.
Reach your hand out, please.
I've broken it this soon.
What's that? You can't open your eyes. That's right. If you could, you'd see his little green in there, which I assume is chloride.
Probably good.
Well, the chloride formed like a pyramid or a triangle in there.
Of course, that's what it's running away.
Self-healing?
It's trying to. It can't.
Oh no.
Because it's too much broken. It's that much missing for it. So
How much missing?
about that.
Wow. That's a lot.
So that means that it's hemorrhaging energy. I give this a life expectancy of probably about 1,000 years.
No, no.
You mean it'd be a dead Christian
What's his die?
when they run out of energy? Well, it becomes a very inactive Christian that is not much use to manual beast.
Well, it's got a phantom in it,
Mm-hmm.
which means the crystal stopped growing and then it started on top of it. So, what purpose did that crystal ever have?
As part of a group of healing crystals, that's the only way it will stay functional is with a group.
So I thought the green would be a interesting form of healing that would add a certain amount of frequency.
Yeah, I wish I could have. I wish Kiri was around to help me.
Catching the same thing too?
Different frequencies, different genetic background. My mind works in a different way. You might have noticed that.
But he's both kind of mischievous at sometimes.
And so are you.
Yeah. I'll wait till Kiri comes sometime and we'll take a look.
Okay.
All right, Dad, we got a long night ahead of us.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, sweetheart. We'll see you up there in a while. Thank you.
What's all that whispering about?
Oh, it's a question.
Oh.
Like you, Mark. Alright. Hey, anyway, so what are your plans tonight?
I'll go and kick back. Have fun.
Sounds okay.
Might go down to the corner bar. Yeah, that's the kind of change for us. Came from the swimming pool scene. I borrowed Carl's t-shirt, not t-shirt, sweatshirt.
What?
Oh, well.
Oh, anyway, I'll be up there for most of the night tonight. I might look for the corner bar.
Well, if I'm not there, you know where I'll be.
Yeah, okay. But I'm leaving tonight, so my work and Ashtar rejection makes you worry.
Yes, I heard about that.
Well, you know me. I got kids growing up.
Yeah. I've got a quick joke for you.
Wait, I got one first. What did Wilbur say to Orville after Orville crashed the first airplane?
I don't know.
Sell the bike shop.
Okay. You know, the other day I sent Mark down to pick up a disc, or sent him down to get a scent of a woman. Do you know what he came back with? Well, fish called London.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
Mark actually told me that one.
I think that'll get past the censors. Yeah. All right. So, oh yes, Renaissance Fair coming up. You can help Mark with the costume.
Probably.
Oh yeah. Is there a way we'll be able to do something like the Renaissance Fair up there and in the hologram?
Yeah. Computer space is limited. Got to book a week in advance at least, and it's got to be worth.
No, this is frivolous.
When we did it for Lulu, it was semi-frivolous, but just so to cheer her up. And it also helped her with her research.
You guys miss me?
Yeah. But she comes over every morning, and then every evening.
Shit, on the wall.
What?
See where the unicorn hanging is? Look about 3/4 of the way down on the left-hand corner next to the black one.
Oh yeah, big spider.
Big spider.
Should we bottle it in all this? No, I'm not sick.
Actually, I got the jars in there. Yeah.
No!
Let me go bottle.
Yeah. No!
Why not?
You gotta bottle it and make her get scared. Jerry.
Carrie's on the sisters.
Yes, that's what you would do it, buddy boy.
No, I would do it to a sister.
Yes, you would.
I'll move it.
You gonna let me go outside?
Oh, shit. Phil.
What is?
Uh-oh.
What?
You jumped. It was yummy.
I have to.
So what we do over by you.
What could you bad smart? You're scared of living day outside.
I won't tell him. It's huge. Big children's guy.
What was this?
No, but if you're allergic to them, dive in.
Oh, that's really nice.
It's huge.
But how big is huge?
Big as a building.
Well, that's a little one.
Yeah, I like spiders.
Did you see a spider that's about that big?
Oh, no. Here, tarantulas. It's not big. Jumping a little bit, too. Well, that's probably behind Mark.
Oh dear!
Oh, well.
I've got to protect my Mark.
No, by the
Don't
time
want him turning me into a nervous wreck.
by the time he comes back, you won't even know.
Well, what about if you get that fly spray thingy?
I mean, he's not going to know until he listens to this tape.
Yeah, true.
Right.
And the tape's about to run out.
Yeah. So by the time...
Side 2.
Right. So when he listens to the tape, he'll go, my God, there's a spider there. Yeah, but he'll never know. I'm not going to say anything if you don't.
No, I won't.
Oh, then don't worry about it.
Okay.
If it bites him, he'll find out that way. He'll hear the tape.
And he'll know who to get.
Well, yeah, both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't see it. Really. Yeah. I don't want to worry about it.
No, we better spray in here for Kerry's comfort.
No, I don't want to.
Why not?
Because you leave a bunch of poisonous residue all over the place. We gotta live in it.
Yeah, true. What about a non-poisonous type that kills them anyway?
They don't make them.
Hmm.
They're all poisonous. That's why they call them poisonous.
Oh.
Insecticide.
Hmm.
Well, we just have to rough it. Hope for cold weather.
That gives me an idea. I could drop the temperature, get them to drop. I couldn't do that. Waste of energy.
Oh well. What's a little spider between friends?
Yeah. I know what I'm gonna do.
What?
Can't say it.
Okay, fair enough. Good luck.
Is it gonna finish? Or do I have to sit here and waste time?
It's ending. It's ending. It's kind of going through the last little section.
Okay, end of side 2.
Well, I'm not saying it's going through right yet.
Oh.
It's like getting there. It's funny. Because now it's inside too.
End of side 2.
Well, maybe not yet. But damn close though.
Incy wincy spider went climbing up the spout. Down came the rain and washed poor Incy out.
Mark's murder. I'll be back. Yeah, Omal can get some. I'll be back.
Can't do it. Got to move his tongue to do that. Oh well. Okay.
All right, my dear. Have a lovely night.
I got things planned.
You gonna go out like that?
Mm-hmm.
In that case,
Tough.